Let me ask you something real quick. Have you ever looked back at something you did and thought, why did I let myself go that far? Why did I stay? Why did I shrink? Why did I betray myself just to keep people close? And the shame creeps in because you can't explain it. But what if the truth is simpler than you think? What if you weren't trying to be weak? You were trying to belong? What if the choices you regret most were actually your soul saying, please don't leave me? Today we're going to pull that truth out of the shadows, not to hurt you, to heal you. Because day 11 of this self-forgiveness journey is where we stop calling ourselves stupid for doing what we did to feel loved. Hey, my beautiful people, welcome back. If you've been walking with me through this 28-day self-forgiveness journey, you already know what time it is. We're not here to perform healing. We're here to live it. We're not here to decorate pain with pretty words. We're here to tell the truth and let it set us free. So today's episode is called You Were Trying to Belong. And baby, this one is tender because a lot of us are carrying shame for the way we moved in survival mode. We've been beating ourselves up for past versions of us who were just trying to be accepted, trying to be chosen, trying to be included, trying to matter, trying not to be left behind. And I'm doing this episode because I want you to understand something. Belonging is a human need. You don't have to hate yourself for having it. By the end of this episode, I want you to walk away with more compassion for who you were, more clarity about why you did what you did, and more power to choose differently now. Let's go. So what does it mean when I say you were trying to belong? I'm talking about those moments in your life where you lowered your standards, silenced your truth, overgave, overexplained, stayed too long, bent your boundaries, performed happiness, tolerated disrespect, became who they wanted, or abandoned yourself. Not because you didn't know you deserved better, but because you didn't want to be alone. Because somewhere in your story, belonging got tangled up with survival. Like if you didn't fit in, you weren't safe. If you weren't chosen, you weren't worthy. If you weren't needed, you didn't matter. And let me be honest, when you don't feel like you belong inside yourself, you'll try to belong anywhere else, even if it costs you. That's why this matters for self-growth. Because if we don't name the real reason behind our regret, we'll keep punishing ourselves for it. We keep saying, I was so dumb. I was so desperate. I should have known better. But what if the truth is, you were trying to belong and you did what you had to do with the tools you had? So let me ask you, what happens when we ignore this part of ourselves? When we refuse to admit that belonging was the hunger underneath the pattern? We stay stuck in shame, and shame makes you hide. And hiding makes you repeat. But understanding makes you free. All right, let me take you into my own backyard with this. There was a time in my life where I was so thirsty for belonging that I became a whole different person depending on who I was around. I didn't even realize it at first. I was the strong one in one room, the funny one in another, the quiet, easy one somewhere else, the ride or die one for people who didn't even ride for me. I was adjusting my personality like a volume knob, trying to keep people comfortable so they wouldn't leave. And I want you to hear me clearly. I wasn't faking. I wasn't trying to manipulate. I was trying to survive emotionally because deep down I had this old wound that said, if people see the real you, they're going to walk away. So I kept performing acceptable me. I said yes when I meant no. I laughed at stuff that hurt me. I made myself the glue because I thought if I was useful enough, I'd be irreplaceable. And it didn't matter how drained I got because belonging felt more important than rest. Then one day I had this moment. I was in a relationship, friendship actually, where I constantly felt like I had to audition for the connection, like I had to earn my seat at the table. And I remember sitting there thinking, why do I feel anxious just being myself? And then the truth hit me like a brick. I didn't believe I belonged unless I was performing. I didn't believe my presence was enough. I believed I had to produce something to be loved. And when I finally faced that truth, I felt grief and relief at the same time. Grief for all the years I spent earning love. Relief because I finally knew why I was exhausted. That was the transformation moment for me. I stopped asking, what's wrong with me? And started asking, what was I trying to get? And the answer was simple. I was trying to belong. Not because I was broken, but because I was human. And once I saw that, I could forgive myself for the ways I've been. Because listen, The version of me who did that wasn't a fool. She was a wounded woman trying to keep connection, trying to keep love, trying to keep a home. And maybe that's you too. All right, let's do the work together. Day 11 is about reframing regret with compassion. We're going to stop shaming ourselves and start understanding ourselves. Here's how. Step 1, identify a moment you judge yourself for. Pick one, not your whole life story, just one moment you still replay like a crime scene. Maybe it's a relationship you stayed in, a boundary you didn't set, a decision you made to keep someone close, a way you acted that doesn't feel like you. Bring it to mind gently. Step 2, ask the belonging question. Ask yourself, what was I trying to belong to in that moment? Be honest. Were you trying to belong to a person, a friend group, a family dynamic, a version of yourself, a dream, a role, an identity? Sometimes we're not just trying to belong to people. We're trying to belong to a story, like happy wife, successful woman, strong one, the one who never fails. Step 3, ask what you feared losing. Then ask, what did I believe I would lose if I didn't do that? Maybe it was love, safety, attention, connection, approval, and peace, identity. The fear underneath the choice is where empathy lives. Step 4, speak to that version of you. Imagine the older, wiser you sitting across from the past you. Say, I see why you did that. You wanted love. You wanted to belong. You didn't want to be left. Let yourself feel that. Not to stay in the past, but to rescue her from shame. Step 5, choose a new belonging. Now ask, where do I belong now that I'm telling the truth? And the answer is, you belong with you, even if nobody claps, even if nobody understands, even if you're rebuilding from scratch. Your first home is you. And from that belonging, you'll draw healthier people, healthier love, healthier rooms. Let me tell you what changes. When you stop shaming yourself for trying to belong, you stop calling your survival stupidity. You realize, I wasn't dumb. I was doing what I thought I needed to do to stay connected. That softens the self-hate. You start breaking patterns without violence, because some people try to change by bullying themselves, but that doesn't work long term. Compassion creates sustainable transformation. You rebuild self-trust. When you understand your past, you stop fearing it. You stop being afraid of your own history. You become more honest in love. You stop trying to earn seats in rooms you already deserve. You stop begging to belong. And you start choosing spaces that choose you back. Now, a common pitfall, confusing belonging with fitting in. Fitting in requires you to edit yourself. Belonging allows you to be whole. If you have to disappear to be accepted, that's not belonging. That's emotional homelessness. And you're not living like that anymore. So here's what I want you to carry with you today. You are not shameful for wanting to belong. You are human. The mistake wasn't wanting belonging. The pain came from trying to get it in places that required you to betray yourself. And if that was your story, I need you to know this. You don't need to punish yourself for how you survived. You need to honor what you were trying to heal. You were trying to belong. And now you get to belong to yourself first. So here's your day 11 affirmation. I forgive myself for the ways I abandoned me to feel accepted. I belong with me now. Let it land. Say it again. I forgive myself for the ways I abandoned me to feel accepted. I belong with me now. That's not just a sentence. That's a new life. My love, thank you for sitting in this truth with me. I know this episode might have cracked something open. A memory, a tear, a realization. Let it. Don't rush to close it back up. If this spoke to you, share it with someone who keeps blaming themselves for loving too hard or staying too long. And make sure you follow the podcast so you don't miss the rest of this journey. For more resources, coaching support, and deeper tools, visit me at https://www.wayofthewise.com. I love you. I'm proud of you. And I'll meet you tomorrow for day 12. Until then, be gentle with the version of you who just wanted a place to belong, because she deserved love too. Talk soon.